Hello there, football fans. Welcome to the Mercurial Trequartistas Gamecast, your weekly dose of Premier League passion, predictions, and proper football talk. By way of introduction, I'm Dathan, and joining me is the man who blends football IQ with storytelling magic. A bit like the smooth analysis of Alan Hansen, delivered with the wit of Micah Richards. Mark, how are we feeling today?
I'm feeling like a proper raconteur now after that after that introduction. If only I had stories to tell.
Well, there's much to talk about today. So, what's on the menu? We will start with Premier League talking points as always. We will then move on to our second segment, which is fantasy football tips for the weekend ahead. And we will round things off with our third segment, the obscure facts segment. It's our cult favourite corner that's kind of earning loyal fans, a bit like Brentford on a good day. So let's start with Premier League talking points. As always, much to get through this week. So let's start with the mighty Leeds. Now, they carved open a reasonably informed Chelsea team, like a Jedi attacking the Christmas turkey with a lightsaber. Mark, thoughts?
It was only a few weeks ago, wasn't it, when we were talking about how papers were reporting that Barker had 4 or 5 games to sort things out. And we were looking at fixture list, and it looked a rocky fixture list.
Mm.
Uh, Leeds were going to play Chelsea, City, and Liverpool
Hmm.
back to back. And yeah, they were incredibly unlucky with City and had a fantastic result in midweek. So those points are adding up, climbing the table, and it looks like they're going to be in a bit of a fight with West Ham for that survival spot. But yeah, well done to Barker and Leeds. Very impressive in midweek, and Chelsea have no answer.
No. No, no. And there's something about Ellen Road on nights like this. I mean, the atmosphere was electric and Leeds just fed off it as a team. Chelsea played well in recent weeks, so they've got decent results against Barca and Arsenal, but they looked absolutely rattled. Ellen Road is amazing, and it can be their secret weapon for the season ahead. But there's still quite a bit of speculation about Farke's future. I mean, in my view, they won't get anyone to do a better job. I mean, we have spoken about Brendan Rodgers and Big Sam in recent weeks. Um, but
The
what do you
campaign
think?
continues.
But what do you think will happen on that front? Do you think he'll stay, or do you think he'll go?
I think they've got to keep him. I think he's done a fantastic job. I think realistically at the start of the season, it was always going to be a bit of a struggle. And, they've got points on the board. If the home form is as popping as it can be, and they're going to get results like they did the other night, they've got all potential and hope for staying in the league. And I just feel changing the manager, bringing somebody in,
Mm.
it's too much of a gamble for them.
Hmm.
That back is already there. He's established. He's got his players. Knows how he wants to play. We can see how it works when it really works. So yeah, I don't know. The whole sort of gambling with a managerial change at this point, it doesn't make too much sense to me. Not when you're in the position you're in. You've got a really good chance of sort of, making a fight staying.
Agreed. I mean, the names that we've spoken about, I think Big Sam, due to his age and due to the fact he likes short-term projects, he won't be there in 5 or 6 years' time. And Rodgers, I mean, he's a bit like his great mentor, Jose Mourinho. His teams play reasonably well for the first 18 months. Jose's teams play really well, but Rodgers' teams play reasonably well. But after that, their form dips and he falls out with the management and it just all goes to pot. Farker cares about the club, and I mean, as we've seen this week, the players are clearly playing for him. But the Leeds board, they will be considering 1 point. Is he the man to keep us up? In a way, it's easier this season because I think, with the greatest of respect to Wolves and Burnley, they may well be going down. So there's only one spot left. And as you mentioned, they are competing with, I think, West Ham, Everton, and Forest at the moment. They seem to be the other clubs
But
down there.
Forest has slipped down, yeah. I
Mm.
think Everton's recent results, I think they've got themselves a little. little higher. But yeah, Forest, when they went with the managerial change,
Mm.
and whilst they didn't get about straight away, Dyche has got, you know, recent results, but
Yeah,
they're still there. They've not pulled away,
yeah,
and yeah, swing of results for either side is
yeah.
going to help them out immensely. It's so tight at the top and the bottom.
Absolutely. And there were rumblings about that. But the Leeds board are going to be thinking, at Everton, David Moyes is not going to take them down. That is just never going to happen in like a trillion years. West Ham, they have Nuno. There's no way that his team are going down. Forest, Sean Dyche, he knows his way around the Premier League. They are not going down. They will be thinking Farkas record, you know, this season and in seasons gone by, how is it in the Premier League? Is he the man to keep us up? But I, I think he should stay as well. I really do. When his team clicks, they are playing well, and Leeds are a big, big club. And again, like it can be sort of based around decent results at Ellen Road, but let's see what happens. Yeah. We move on to the next story. So all is not rosy in the Liverpool garden, but let's generally focus on Mo Salah. So he's not started their last two games. He came on in the game against Sunderland in midweek. I'm just going to say this. Do you think he's going to be at Liverpool much longer?
Do you know what? It's one of them where it could very much go either way. Personally, I don't think he's been getting the same service that he needs to be effective. The reason Alexander Arnold is a big miss. He was the guy to hit the long, incisive pass for Salah to run onto, and he's not had that. He's ended up with a situation where the right back behind him has been changing so much, and so far none of them have been able to play the same kind of ball. But then Liverpool generally aren't playing the same way as they have in previous seasons.
Hmm.
The front line has changed a lot. The Mane, Firmino, Salah axis was a well-oiled machine.
Hmm.
And in the last few years, he's had to, a change and adapt with different forwards like Diaz, Johnson, Nunes, Gakpo, and it's not got close to that previous big three.
Yeah.
So I think Liverpool could be using tactics that would be more effective for him. He's still, all-time Premier League
Oh,
goal
yeah.
scorer. He's right up there in the charts.
Yeah.
He will be considered a Premier League legend when he retires. I think it's up to Liverpool and the manager to adapt the tactics to get the best from him. They know what works to get Salah firing. They're not playing like that.
They did it last season. I mean, his goals, they propelled the club towards the title. There's no doubt about that.
Yep. But who was there? Oh, it was Alexander Arnold.
Mm. Yeah.
I think he's certainly been a big miss on that side, particularly for Salah. Um, I mean, it could be that Salah decides he wants a new challenge. Oh, the Saudi offers have always been there and thereabouts. I think Spanish press reported this morning that Galatasaray have even prepared to offer him a 15 million, 16 million year contract. So,
Yeah.
last year he decided he wanted to sign a contract. He
Mm.
wanted to stay.
Yeah.
It's not been a great start to the season. If he's deciding now, no, I'm not
Yeah.
being picked, I want to go, then he's got every right to make that call.
I think if he wants to move to Saudi, all he has to do is sort of look in the direction of the clubs and just nod, and like they will all come in, and it will be an almighty auction. I think they might see it as like a thing of like prestige, the one who can get Mo Salah, and he will certainly be held in high esteem. But I think part of the reason he stayed at Liverpool, and even if he were to leave Liverpool last season, I think he kind of hinted he wanted to stay inside Europe, was that he's still keen to play in a reasonably competitive league. I mean, with the greatest of respect to the Saudi league, it's not quite as competitive as the Bundesliga, Serie A, and the Premier League. Um, so on the balance of things, if it might be more profitable for Liverpool to sell him in January because he's about a quarter of the way through a 2-year contract. The value well, I mean, his value, it will dip if they look to sell him next summer because there's only a year left on his contract. Um, if Liverpool are serious about a Champions League place, I can't see how they can even contemplate getting rid of Mo Salah, but who knows? Stranger things have happened in football, and historically, Liverpool have sold and bought big name strikers in January. It's happened many a time, so let's see.
Yeah, I mean, they said it's such a bad run. I kind of feel we need your best players. I think selling Salah now possibly sends the wrong message. And I think they need that kind of reaction now from Salah.
Hmm,
Go on a string of games, get a whole lot of goals, and yeah, basically show what they're missing.
absolutely.
If as a byproduct they end up climbing the table, then
Yeah.
they'll all be happy. Everyone will be happy. So yeah, it's the only way
Hmm.
to respond to being dropped. You
Yeah.
either fight for your place or you know, hide from the challenge. And I don't think Salah's the kind of player that will hide from it.
No, he's not. Right, if we move on to story number three, if we focus on a story which spans the Championship and the Premier League, so if we turn our attention to Coventry City, they are doing very well in the Championship. They are sitting clear at the top, and I think they are looking like they are destined for promotion. I understand that under Frank Lampard, they've built the biggest lead in the history of the Championship after 16 games. Hugely impressive. The question I'm going to ask you, Mark, is that we have spoken at length about how teams come up to the Premier League from the Championship and they struggle greatly. Though Sunderland are clearly the exception that prove that rule. They have been absolutely incredible this season. Much, much credit and kudos go to Sunderland. But if Coventry come up, how do you think they will manage in the Premier League?
I'm not sure it'll be the same kind of story as Sunderland. I think that yeah, it is a very good lead in the Championship, but there have been a series of games and results in the Championship where there's been some proper upsets, some strange results where the bottom of the table has been beating the top end. Um, and I think Coventry have benefited from not being a victim of those kind of upsets, which is great for them. But the other teams that have been sort of chasing them, they've had a few sort of you know, bizarre results. Um, Coventry haven't got a good history in the Premier League. I mean, they were there for the first season, and they've got some proper players. I mean, we've
Yes.
got Silver Regis, Leon Dudley, Unloved, uh, Nicky Quinn, and they made a good they made a good dent in a lot of people's
Mm.
coupons over the years.
Yeah.
Coventry in the Premier League next year.
Hmm.
I think it'll still be a bit of a scrap. I think they're going to be more. It's going to be more Leeds than Sunderland.
Mm.
Sunderland are coming. I mean, Sunderland's team basically brought in a whole lot of players. If
Yeah.
you look at the team that played in the playoff final
Yeah.
and compare it to the team that played against Liverpool the other night, so much difference.
Yeah.
Are Coventry going to do that? Most teams, when they do buy in that many, they're not
Yeah.
going to settle and sync up that
Mm.
quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're good to see Coventry back. I think
Yes.
they're probably going to have more of a typical championship team in the Premier League
Hmm.
kind of year if they do make it. But you know, well, we can always wait and see how it develops. Who knows? Maybe they will do Sunderland and just go, yeah, we'll buy a whole new team.
But if we focus a bit on the manager, so do you think Coventry are going to be the team where Frank Lampard finally makes a name for himself as a manager
I think he's got a very good record in the championship
in the
already.
Championship? Yes, with Derby, was
Yeah,
it? I think, and yeah,
the reputation in the Premier League has been mixed. I think the Chelsea job probably came a little bit too soon. Everton just they just didn't work out. But yeah, I think his best chance of making an name for himself in Premier League is probably going to be with a team that he built in the Championship and
Yeah.
things up. You know, they clearly respond to him. Uh, they like the way they play. They're showing on the pitch with the results. They're really
Hmm.
buying into what he's doing. So yeah, his best chance for building a reputation in the Premier League absolutely is going to be with a team that he's built.
Yeah.
That
Agreed. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think teams, well, that that have come up, and that is the best way almost for an English manager to make their name these days. So if we think back to years ago, Big Sam, he did it with Bolton. More recently, Eddie Howe, who is perhaps the most high-profile English manager. He came up with Bournemouth originally, and look at him now. And I agree with you. If Frank turns up with Coventry and they build or like rebuild the team slightly to survive in the Premier League, and after that, they can sort of take it to a different level and like up and up and up. That may be the best thing for him, but we wish him luck. I mean, I can remember it was Lineker of, I think it was last year. He was just saying that, having held a lot of conversations with Frank through like the punditry side of things, in in the view of Lineker, he has all the trappings of a very, very good manager. It's just finding a place where he can sit and sort of thrive and sort of allow his sort of plan to unfold. And there's a bit less pressure, perhaps, compared to Everton or Chelsea in comparison to a Coventry City if they come up next season. So let's see. Well, there you have it. Roughly as many divided opinions as Arsenal fans on Granit Xhaka back in the day. We will, of course, keep an eye on these stories in the week ahead. But if we now move on to section two, our fantasy football section, Mark, do you want to kick us off?
I mean, I could just play the old clip here. Last week I played Haaland FC. This week I'll probably play Haaland FC. Yeah, no, I think yeah, got scuppered by Haaland in the first
Yeah.
cycle of matches. Although Leeds did the best. Leeds did the best to help me out. But yeah, and then what was it? Midweek, Haaland he scored it, but it didn't make any difference.
I think he did score, didn't he? But
Did he score? Oh, that could, maybe that was the
or like
difference
was it
then.
assists? Or like
I
was it
think he
assists?
might maybe it was an assist. Yeah,
Yeah,
there was definitely points. He got points on the board anyway. I'm just not
yeah.
skipping over his stat page now.
Well, I actually hedged my bet. So in our mini league, I mean, I took the captaincy off Haaland, and I thought Walter Maida he might do a bit better this week, so I gave it to him. He didn't do badly, but Haaland scored much higher. So, and the person I played in the league, they captained Haaland, so that gave them a lead, a much bigger lead. So I don't think I managed to beat them. So I was
But
just trying
Walter
to
Maida
be,
nearly got more points.
well,
I mean, there was discussion between him and Gordon over who was taking the penalty. Unfortunately, Gordon went for it. And I was just
yeah.
like, wrong decision, Gordon. Should have let Walter Maida take it.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, like
more the fantasy league. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, like he should think about, us in our fantasy mini league. Eddie Howe needs to think about these things as well. He
Yeah.
should have said to the players, but yeah, I'll
Let's keep
just
it out. Though I did have Munoz for Palace, so I mean that was probably my standout player in the team.
Palace has been amazing, in terms of their defenders. I mean, I've got a couple of them, and they've scored very highly. But the way that defenders get points has changed, so that makes a big difference. But I'll just run extremely quickly through the games, these sorts, with the ones which are salient and worth talking about. So Arsenal and Villa. So they play at Villa Park, so it's actually Villa v Arsenal. Arsenal top of the league, and they are solid in defence. Saka remains an outside shout for the captaincy this week, but Villa's home form is always imperious. So let's see what happens. City versus Sunderland. City at home is always Premier League gold. Sorry, Mark. Haaland is the standout captain choice. But Foden, he's also in form. He played well against Fulham midweek. So, yeah, Sunderland have been brilliant. They've been highly resilient and an amazing, amazing performance against Liverpool midweek. But I think even they might struggle against City's attack. Let's see. Leeds versus Liverpool. we've just spoken about Farker and his team. So Leeds dismantled Chelsea and Liverpool hugely inconsistent. I wouldn't go for any of the Liverpool defenders. I think they will struggle to keep a clean sheet and Leeds might nick this. So Calvert-Lewin and a couple of other attacking players, they might be worth a shout. And finally, Wolves versus Man U. Wolves are struggling under Rob Edwards, so Man U's defenders are worth considering. I know they drew last night. I think they drew with West Ham. Um, but certainly away from home at Wolves, their defenders might do pretty well. So in summary, Captain Haaland for safety, Saka as an alternative. Target Spurs and City attackers. They will probably do well this weekend. Avoid Chelsea because they play Bournemouth away. I can't see either their defence or their strikers scoring that well. Liverpool will rotate, and by that specifically, I mean Mo Salah. I can't see him starting again. City might bench a few players, and players like Bowen and Calvert-Lewin, they could swing tight matches, which could make a difference if you're part of a mini league. So there you go. How does that sound?
Personally,
How does
I
that
mean,
sound?
it all sounds very, very good. I'd like to suggest that Pep sort of consider Manchester City's fixture list and it's time to rest. They need him for the game tonight. So it's
Yeah,
time to slow down on that one.
I
Even if he
think
doesn't
he,
have anything.
I think you and I need to have a chat with him, and we should also get Eddie Howe in on the team as I mean, like on the call as well, and just say, look, Eddie, what happened on Wednesday? Gordon
Yeah,
taking the penalty. We need to speak about this, and like as you say, with Pep, but let's
oh,
see.
they'll understand.
Yeah, well, they have to. Right, let's move on to the obscure facts segment. So, some quite interesting ones this time. So, let's start with ghost grounds. So, not a ghost in a supernatural sense, but many former grounds they survive only street names, plaques, or fragments of terraces. So, these are lost grounds or older grounds which no longer exist. And supporters and historians actually pay a lot of attention to this. I'm going to focus on two. So there was Main Road at Manchester City, and I think it was closed in 2003 and demolished, and the site was redeveloped for housing and mixed use. But fans, they still visit it, and historians, they have recorded its footprint. And also, Roker Park at Sunderland, I think it closed, it was the mid 90s, or it could have been around 97. And the site was redeveloped, but they still have plaques and heritage trails that mark its location. So visiting these sites has become almost like a subculture, and fans and local history groups often do so. I mean, I think Everton with Goodison, I mean, they've moved to their spanking new stadium, the Hill Dickinson Stadium. So I suspect that Goodison will be redeveloped, but that's another one. But for the future, but what do you reckon?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of interesting history with the older grounds. I remember accidentally finding the plaque for where Neaton Heath was founded, ended up becoming Man United, and
Mm.
yeah, you sort of see the little blue plaque on a street, terrace houses. But then if you look sort of the other way, there's the Etihad Stadium.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, the whole ground thing is yeah, maybe worth pursuing. Maybe having a little bit of a tour and have a wander around, see if we can find any more blue plaques.
Let's see. Let's see. And also St James Park at Newcastle. It's there's a huge crowd there every week, but if they score, you can hear it far and wide
Mm.
in town and sort of in areas close by. It's very, very audible.
Wonder what they've done with the acoustics of these new stadiums. Like, well, what's happened? They're trying to keep the sand in the ground. You can only hear it if you buy a ticket.
Yeah. We move on to fact number two. Sorry, obscure fact number two. So it's Switzerland's perfect defense. So they didn't concede a single goal in the 2006 World Cup group stage. They drew with France. They beat Togo and South Korea. I think they were knocked out by Ukraine in the round of 16 after a nil-nil draw, and they lost 3-0 on penalties. So they became the first team ever to be eliminated without conceding a goal. I'm going to draw a line from Morpheus in the Matrix here, and he said, "Fate was not without a sense of irony." Definitely applies to the Swiss team during that World Cup.
Imagine getting to like, round of 16 in the World Cup without conceding, and then going out the campaign playing in one of the most rubbish matches ever. I remember watching it. It was
Whoa.
terrible.
Mm,
Yeah, it was shocking.
mm.
I think as well when it came to doing the highlights, he skipped straight to the penalty shootout.
Wow.
It was that bad.
Whoa.
But yeah, Switzerland. I mean, they did. I mean, nil nil draw. I mean, one of them was against France, and France got to the final. So you know,
Yes, they
they're
did.
on to say, look, we played the World Cup runners up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't
Mm,
score,
mm.
and that was France with Zidane and Henri.
Yes, it was. Indeed, it was. We move on to the third obscure fact. So, the fastest red card ever in the Premier League is held by Keith Gillespie. So, it was Sheffield United who Keith played for versus Reading in the Premier League. It was the 20th of January 2007. So, he was shown the red card after 12 seconds, effectively 0 seconds of active play since the ball hadn't restarted, and it's still the fastest red card in Premier League history and one of the fastest in a pro football ever. I think it's a classic pop question, but his name is now synonymous with this. But I remember him when we were young. He was a really good winger, both for Man U and then Newcastle. He was a very, very good player, but
He
he's
was
famous for
the
this now.
player that went the other way, wasn't he? He went the other way as part of the Andy Cole purchase.
Yes.
It was money plus Keith Gillespie. But
Was it 6 million plus Keith Gillespie? So it was meant to be a total of like 7 million, which was an English record at the time. I do
yeah,
believe it could have been. So it was a big thing. So
yeah, no, well, yeah, huge one. Well, now as well as back then, but yeah, the red card. I mean, really came up fired up. I'd love to know if there was history between him and the other player,
yeah,
but it's such a quick red card. Yeah, no need for that. No need for that. Straight in there, saw that, get out. And even after the red card, he still has another pop at another player. So, you know, it could have been two red cards.
yeah, yeah.
I think the referee that did it as well, he did have a bit of a reputation. He did send off Kevin Pressman
Mm.
after 13 seconds in a championship match. So, yeah, there was no messing with that ref.
I think we have obscure facts in our podcast, but you've got more obscure facts in your brain. How on earth did you remember that? Oh man.
I mean, I could probably tell you where I was when, when it happened. I won't
Okay,
go.
everyone.
That's showing up.
Okay, everyone. That's all we have time for this week. So until the next time, keep the faith and please do like and subscribe to our channels on various social media platforms and do get involved there if you are so inclined. We are back sometime next week with more TMTG goodness. Till the next time, until all are one.